Another year's almost gone, and you're sitting there thinking, wait, where did it go? Not in some cheesy, sappy way. I mean the real, slightly unsettling way. You know, January was like 5 minutes ago, but somehow it's December. And if someone asked you to explain what happened in those 11 months, you'd freeze. You were there. You lived every single day, but it's a blur. And here's the scary part nobody tells you. It gets worse. This isn't a steady thing. It's speeding up. Somewhere in your 30s, 40s, 50s, you notice the years aren't just flying by. They're flying by faster than they used to fly by. The whole thing is compounding. A year at 40 feels nothing like a year at 20. And a year at 20 felt nothing like a summer when you were 8. Remember those? Summer at 8 lasted forever. It was endless, a whole universe packed into 3 months. So why does that happen? Why does time speed up as we get older? And can you actually slow it down? Stick with me, because the answer's way more interesting than you think. And honestly, it's fixable. Oh, and if you like this kind of stuff, do me a quick favor and hit that like button and subscribe. It genuinely helps me out, and it takes 2 seconds. Cool? Let's get into it. Okay, first explanation, the one you've probably heard before. It's called the ratio idea, and it goes like this. How long a year feels depends on how much life you've already lived. Think about it. When you're 5, 1 year is a huge chunk of your life. It's 20% of everything you've ever known. But when you're 40, that same year is just 1/40th of your life. Tiny, a drop in the bucket. So a year feels long to a kid because it's a massive slice of their whole existence. And it feels short to an adult because it's a sliver of a much bigger pie. Neat, right? And it's kind of true. But here's the thing, it doesn't explain everything. Because some years at 40 feel long, and some years at 20 felt short. If it were just about ratios, that wouldn't happen. So there's something deeper going on, and to find it, we've got to look at your brain. Here's a wild fact. Your brain doesn't have a clock. People assume it works like a watch, something ticking away in the background that you just check. Nope, that's not how it works at all. Your brain figures out time after the fact, and it uses one main trick to do it: memories. Basically, your brain measures how long a period was by how many memories you made during it. Lots of new, distinct memories? That stretch of time feels long when you look back. Barely any memories? It feels short, even if the exact same number of hours went by. And this is what the ratio idea couldn't explain. A year full of new stuff, new places, new people, new challenges, feels long in the rearview mirror. A year of the same old routine feels like it vanished. And it's got nothing to do with your age. It's all about how many memories you stacked up. So now, watch how age sneaks back into the picture. Kids are basically memory machines. Not because they're smarter than us, they're not, but because everything is new to them. First day of school, first time on a bike, first time tasting something weird, first big thunderstorm. There's no shortcut for any of that because they've never done it before, so their brain records every detail. That's why summer at 8 felt endless. It was packed with firsts. You remember the smell of the grass, the way the light looked on some random afternoon, because your brain was paying close attention. It was writing everything down. Now flip to being an adult. You've kinda seen it all. Your morning commute? You've done it 1,000 times. Your brain goes on autopilot. You get to work and can't even remember driving there. And that's not a problem with you. It's efficiency. But multiply that across your whole year and boom, fewer memories. So your brain decides the year was short. Now, here's where it gets really interesting and kind of mind-bending. There are actually 2 ways we feel time: how long it feels while it's happening and how long it feels when you look back. And they usually disagree. Think about a boring day at work. In the moment, it drags. You're staring at the clock. 5 o'clock feels a million miles away. But then look back a week later, that whole day's just gone. Poof. No memories, no trace. Now think about an amazing vacation. In the moment, it flies by, over before you know it. But look back months later, it feels huge, full of little moments you can still picture. Wild, right? The stuff that feels slow while it's happening feels short later, and the stuff that flies by feels long later. And this matters a lot, because it means if you build your whole life around comfort and avoiding boredom, you're building a life that'll feel like it disappeared in a flash. Okay, so how do you actually fix this? It starts with attention. Here's the deal. You only make memories from stuff you actually notice. If you're on autopilot, your brain records nothing. That commute where you're daydreaming the whole time, no memory. That meal you scarfed down while scrolling your phone, gone. But when you actually pay attention, really look at the walk, really taste the food, really listen in a conversation, your brain records it. And that stretch of time feels fuller later. And here's the uncomfortable part. Most of us live in a state of constant distraction. Phone always buzzing, something always playing in the background, which means we're basically running an anti-memory program all day long. No wonder the years feel like they're slipping away. There's another huge factor here, emotion. Big emotional moments get burned into your brain. It's just how memory works. That's why you remember exactly where you were during the scary stuff, the happy stuff, the heartbreaking stuff. Those moments come back crystal clear. And guess what? Kids' lives are emotionally intense by default because everything's new, so everything feels like a big deal. The first time is always emotional. You don't know how it's going to go, but by the 100th time, meh, the feeling fades, and so do the memories. Here's one people almost never talk about: other people. We're social creatures, and the people around us actually shape how we feel time. Deep conversations, shared adventures, being around folks you love, that stuff creates strong memories. But loneliness does the opposite. When people are isolated for a long time, their whole sense of time gets messed up. It goes fuzzy, unreliable. So investing in real close relationships isn't just good for your happiness, it literally makes your life feel longer. And in a world where we're all working from home and hanging out less, yeah, that's part of why time feels so thin lately. And this goes deeper than just perception. It touches who you are. When time feels slow and full, you feel like you're growing, changing, adding new chapters to your story. But when the years blur together, you feel stuck, like nothing's really happening, like you're the same person you were 5 years ago. And it's all the same root cause: routine. No new memories means time feels fast, and it means you feel stuck. Same problem, same fix. So let's talk about what to actually do, because the science points somewhere pretty clear. The lives that feel the longest, the fullest, they're not the most comfortable ones. They're the ones packed with variety, new challenges, new places, new skills, new people. Learn something genuinely new, an instrument, a language, whatever. Every session's a little different, so your brain stays awake. Travel somewhere unfamiliar, new sights, new food, new streets to get lost in. And no, you don't need expensive trips. The magic isn't distance, it's newness. A weekend in a town 2 hours away that you've never seen. A cuisine you've never tried. A different route to work. A chat with a stranger. A book in a genre you'd normally skip. Little firsts. Sprinkle them everywhere. They add up. Because that's the real answer. Time speeds up as we age because life gets predictable. Fewer firsts. Less attention. Less newness. So your brain records less and reads that as time flying by. But here's the good news. It's not permanent. You've got more control than you think. More novelty, more attention, more real connection, more firsts. The first time you do anything beats the 100th time, every single time. Summer at 8 felt endless because everything was a first. And no, you can't go back to being 8, but you can go back to first times. And honestly, that's the closest thing to slowing down time that science has ever found.